everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Sam and I are very happy to welcome a young lady to TV3's cameras. And Sam, would you like to make the introduction?
Yeah, Andrea King Van Meter. We're very glad to have her back in town. And
That's right.
She was in her younger days. Of course, she's still young, but in her younger days, she was a big part of Spartan athletics.
You wore the red and white of CHS for a while.
I did.
And you were coaching, or you were the players being coached by, who was your coach in volleyball? And
So volleyball, we started with Penny Pfeiffer.
okay.
So she was the coach for 2 years, and then Trish Smith came in. Actually, I think Penny I had for 3 years, and then Trish Smith came in my senior year.
Okay.
Right when class sports started, of course, you know. And then for basketball, it was Lori Robbins Burge. Had her for the first 2 years, and then
Okay.
Larry Miller was our junior and senior year.
So you were Lady Spartan for several years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're saying this is the groundwork for me becoming an athletic director?
I mean, if that's what it takes, absolutely.
Okay.
I never thought I would come back home, never thought I would be an athletic director, but I guess
Sure.
here I am, right?
It's wonderful to have you back,
thank
Andrea. I
you.
mean, we're very happy to welcome you to TV3's cameras, and Sam and I have a lot of questions. Sam, you want to give her question number
Yeah,
one?
we'll talk a little bit about when you left CHS. Of course, you talked about those coaches and,
Sure.
and some great coaches, all of them. that-
Absolutely.
That you talked about, great people. Talk about your college career and then getting to where you are now. But,
Okay, well, I left here and went to Butler. Got a full ride volleyball scholarship. So I played under 2 different coaches out of Butler. I was recruited as an outside hitter and ended up playing there for like 2 days, and then went to a middle hitter. So that's kind of where I was at in high school. Graduated from Butler and kind of stayed up in the Indy area. Couldn't really find teaching jobs at the time, so I coached at Speedway High School. I was a basketball and a volleyball coach there for a couple of years. And then I kept doing volleyball camps with Butler. And a lady from Northwest Missouri State came to one of the camps, and she said, "Hey, we're hiring an assistant at the collegiate level. You should come and coach with me." And I'm like, okay, I have nothing to lose at that point. So I got offered the assistant position at Northwest Missouri State University, which is a Division II. And so I was the assistant coach out there in charge of recruiting and practice plans and individual workouts. And then at the end of that year, she left. And they offered me the position, but at the time, my husband finally decided to propose. So we moved home, moved back, and when I moved back to the area, I went to Richmond. So I was a coach at Richmond High School for 5 years, I think.
Really?
we'll forgive
Yeah.
you of that.
Absolutely, the other side, right? So no, I was at Richmond for 5 years, and then coaching. And then I got pregnant with my oldest, and we decided that coaching was going to have to take the back burner. So an opportunity arose at Hagerstown, which we lived in Hagerstown at the time. So I took that position and kind of didn't go the high school level. I did the middle school. So I coached 7th and 8th grade volleyball there. Also 5th and 6th grade volleyball, and then also some little travel basketball. So I've been involved. I've just
Sure.
not been an athletic director, but kind of involved with sports.
But
so
coaching, you've seen what athletic directors do.
absolutely,
and,
a lot, yeah.
It's a big job. Before we go on and talk about that, talk about your family. You have children.
Yep, married to Kent Van Meter. We've been married 15 years. I have 2 girls. Kinsey is 13. She's an 8th grader at the middle school. So she's actually was very scared to start at the middle school,
Sure.
but I think she's fit in pretty well. So she's playing volleyball there.
Good.
And then she also does travel softball. So she's a big softball player. And then my youngest is Caston. She's in 4th grade. And I don't really know what Caston likes to do. If YouTube was a sport, she'd be really good at it. But she does like basketball. She did a local cheer clinic last week. She's just kind of my free spirit.
Sure.
We call her the little old lady inside a little girl because she doesn't like to go anywhere. She's always cold. She loves cats, and she's always in her house coat. So that's my youngest.
Well, and she has plenty of time to make up her mind
Absolutely, absolutely.
what she wants to do. That's
Yeah.
great. And I'm glad that. And where does she go to school then?
She's at Fayette Central.
Fayette Central.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So she's
So-
out there at 4th grade. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. That's a nice area and a great school.
Sure,
And middle
yeah.
school. I know kids that age going into middle school, they're always apprehensive, but once they get there, it's
Well, the middle school is actually, the 7th and 8th grade here at the middle school is bigger than our whole school, 7 through 12 at Hagerstown. So Kinsey was used to the number of people in the hallway, but she didn't realize like half of them were all her grade now. So that's been an adjustment.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
How has participating in athletics helped you in school, in your student academics?
I think it gave me a schedule, like kept me organized, because when I left high school, it was get your work done early, go to practice, come home, finish stuff, go to bed, do it the next day. And college was basically the exact same way. And so giving me that chance to be on a schedule and stay organized, I mean, I've kind of carried that on through life. I have to have schedules. I have to write things down. And I think athletics did that because it was
disciplined.
Absolutely. Lots of discipline. Trying to keep everything straight is sometimes kind of hard.
Right.
And I think with athletics, you don't know where you're going from day to day or what practice is going to look like, and you always have to prepare yourself for that. And I think that kind of carried over into the classroom.
How do you think participating in sports has prepared you for this job?
It's been eye-opening, I will say that. There's a lot about sports that I still really don't know. I had the golf invitational this past weekend, and I'm not a golfer, so I learned a lot while I was there. Same thing with tennis.
Yes.
But knowing sports and knowing the structure, most sports are very similar. I know some are more individualized and some are more team, but even still, there's still some continuity between them. And I think being able to take what I learned as a coach and what I learned as a player, I mean, of course, the financial side, something that you don't deal with as a coach that much, and that's a little different in this role. But I think the time and the priority that you put on your sport kind of help carry over to this role.
Sure. Does it help you deal with students if they come to you with problems?
I haven't had a whole lot of kiddos come in yet. I don't know a whole lot of them yet. I've been trying to get in the hallway and at lunch and say hi, but I'm hoping that will, trying to make those connections between them outside of the classroom as well as inside the classroom.
So you feel your background has prepared you for this job, Andrea?
Sure. I mean, I finished my admin license back in April. I wanted to be an admin. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was ready to get out of the classroom. I still want to be around kids, but not necessarily instructing them all day long. And I think this has been a great role because I get to do some of the outside the classroom stuff, and then my classroom's after the bell rings. So at 3:30, I get to go outside and see the kids and talk to the kids and talk to the parents, which has been great.
What's been your biggest challenge so far?
That's a great question. I think prioritizing right now, my time, my personal time, compared to my work schedule.
Yes.
There's a lot to do, and I could probably spend 24 hours a day in that office if I did, and trying to make sure I leave time for myself and my family. And I mean, these are big shoes to fill. I mean, Brent was here for 10 years, and before him, Pam, and so they've put in a lot of time to the program, and I don't want to come in and let it fall apart. So I think it's kind of more intimidating to come in, and I want to be there and I want to do things right. So I think prioritizing my time is a little bit of the issue.
It's a huge responsibility
Absolutely.
for one person.
It's a lot. I don't do it by myself. I have a great team.
Oh, good.
I have a great assistant, Damon Havlicek, and then my athletic secretary, Katrina Harris. They've been phenomenal. So definitely couldn't do it by myself.
You lean on them a lot, is what you're saying.
I do. We lean on each other a lot, even with the admin team.
You've gone from preparing lesson plans, though, to doing scheduling
Absolutely.
and to include buses and all that, which is right there. I mean, it's minute by minute.
Absolutely. And like today, it changed. We had a home soccer match that got changed, and the team didn't have enough practices in. So they couldn't compete tonight. And so the number of people you had to call to make sure that was taken care of, from, your ticket takers to your concession workers, the officials. Like, you have to remember to call them and tell them not to come. So there's a lot to remember, like a lot of checklists. I have a lot of checklists in my brain, on my phone, on my computer. So
hopefully I know the last couple of years, Brent had to do a lot of rescheduling due to the pandemic, and hopefully that's behind us. And
I hope so.
And you're not scrambling, because there were times, it was just right at the moment, and they called and they said, we cannot come.
Absolutely. We don't have enough girls, or we're all sick. Absolutely. I see the spring being kind of crazy like that, especially with weather, with rain and rain delays and stuff. So I could see that being a problem. But fingers crossed we'll get through it.
We will.
And be successful.
Yeah, we will. And big thing's just communicating, I think, with everybody.
Communication is huge.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, so
Absolutely.
we go ahead, Fran. You
No,
look
that's
like
okay.
you looked like you were ready to say something.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. You were doing well.
Well, thank you. Friday night, one of the biggest crowds I've seen at Spartan
That's
Field, and we
fantastic.
usually have pretty good crowds, but
Yeah.
it was huge. A lot of enthusiasm about this football program. But the other thing that we talked about, Dave and I talked about on the air, it's not only a football. You know, you look and the cheerleaders and the Spartanettes and the band. It's an opportunity for a lot of people to be involved, a lot of young people to be involved,
Absolutely.
and then their families to come and be proud and watch them.
It was, I don't know if it's record breaking because I don't have all those records, but I know that we sold over 1,200 tickets, not including all sports tickets that night. And that would be from our side as well as Richmond.
That's great.
Richmond, I guess, doesn't travel very well, is what I've been told. I mean, they had some people
wasn't
across
too
there.
bad for
Yeah, it
them.
wasn't too bad for them. But, you know, I kind of walked over by the band there at the fourth quarter when I finally got a chance to walk around and walked and looked at from the band's perspective. And, I mean, just looking up at the sea of red and white in the stands was just... It was really kind of neat. I mean,
Sure.
It's been a long time since I've been at Spartan Field for a football game. I'm not going to lie.
Sure.
That's not a priority when you're living somewhere else and teaching somewhere else. But I turned and I looked and I thought, wow, this is just really cool. And again, that's not me. That Mr. Shunnison, our principal, he is on it. Like, he is wanting school spirit. He wants kids involved. He wants staff involved. He wants to get people out. And so he put some things together behind the scenes. We had a all-district tailgate in the courtyard, which we're hoping it can be bigger the next time. We had that tailgate line, the tunnel for the boys to walk through.
Yes.
You had the quarterback club down there. Eric Myers led that. They were tailgating, and there were parents down there. So the little cheerleader night, we had the band competing, or not competing, I guess, performing. The Spartanettes were out there. So it was just all those little pieces kind of came together, and it was a beautiful weather.
Right, perfect.
I mean, it wasn't real hot, it wasn't real cold,
Right.
so it was just kind of all the right things just kind of came together. I guess the Goldilocks effect or
I
something.
liked having the band in the end zone,
Yeah.
and along with the Spartan Guard. I thought that was great, and Levi does a great job.
He does,
with
and
those
we
guys.
are hoping that we can get him louder. I know with where they were at, they seemed a little quieter. So we're going to make plans to try to get them a little louder
Sure.
for the next game, so we can hear them a little
There are
bit
a lot
better.
of things that need to be tinkered with
Sure,
a little bit.
And,
sure. Absolutely.
we had some fireworks as well.
We did have some fireworks. Coach Lynch's wife, Michelle, she came up to me like 3 weeks before, and she had all these things. We're going to do this and this and this. I'm like, okay, let me run that past my bosses. And they were okay with it. And so that was the plan. They wanted to do some fireworks and kind of get some hype and have people try to come back. So I don't think people were expecting it. So when the first touchdown happened, the fireworks went off, everyone kind of looked like, what was that? But it was awesome. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was, and just a great atmosphere overall. And you got that many. You got to be pleased with the gate. You got to be pleased with concessions.
Sure.
But I know that keeping those concessions full, that's a big job too.
It is. And again, I can't take credit for that one. Tom Cooley is our concession manager, and he's on it. He was down there stocking the night before, and he had things on backup, and he was running from one to the next. There's some things we want to change. There's some areas that we maybe want to move to where we can have like a smaller table set up to sell some things to make it
Sure.
faster. Because some people did wait in line
Nice.
a decent amount of time. I mean, that's kind of some things we want to tweak, like you had said. But for the most part, I think things went really well. Yeah.
I think they did. from my vantage point.
Awesome.
Other than a little technical difficulties we had.
I know.
but
We're going to figure that.
We'll work
figure
through
that one out.
We'll work through that.
Well, we have to talk about the game. I mean, it's not often that the Spartans get off to that kind of a win, and a big lead, and as they say, kept the foot on the pedal, right?
They did, and a big thing I think in football is scoring first, and we were able to do that.
Yes,
And
yes.
it kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. And I thought it would be a close game. I thought the Spartans would win, but ended up not being a close game. And anytime we beat the Devils, I don't care if it's tiddlywinks, it's a good night.
Fine,
And
47 to 20,
47 to 14.
14. Yeah, holding them to 2 touchdowns is quite a feat.
It is. It is, and there's a little question on that one touchdown. So,
Gotta have a little controversy.
yeah, it's all right as long as we win like
Well,
that.
the
Absolutely.
officials, they have their nights off too, I guess.
The minute they blink.
Yeah. I guess we have some film on that.
Right, some highlights from the game. TV3 was there, so let's check it out right now.
Yeah. As we said, a perfect night. There's Spartans with the red jerseys, the Devils with the white. And,
Scored very early in that
Very
first
early,
quarter.
yeah.
Absolutely.
sure did. Took advantage of some miscues by Richmond for sure. So here we are again and taking it in for another touchdown, and the Spartans go up then 14-0, and still with 3.5 minutes to play there in the first half.
It's 20-0 at halftime, something like that.
Yeah, we missed the extra point, but some more celebration. And see, the shadows are starting to get long. But looking at the field there, Brian does an excellent job keeping that field looking good.
He
Yes.
does. Brian has been. I'm very, very pleased that I get to work with Brian.
I
He's,
know you know what you do.
So
I don't know what I would do without him. Absolutely.
Richmond gets 6 points on the board, and
If only we had an extra.
the board
football
right
field.
there running up the sideline kept it in bounds and takes it in for the touchdown. And a lot of celebration. And Spartans go in again and makes it 33-6. And by that time, it was just a matter of what that final score was going to be, Fran.
That's right. I think it was out of Richmond's reach, yes.
And I've had people say, well, Richmond not very good. Well, I just think we played well.
We did play well.
Played well on both
Well,
sides of the
that's
ball,
what it was,
defensively,
yeah.
and
Absolutely. And you know every coach is going to say, well, we didn't play our best, or well, we could change this. But you know what? A win's a win in this case, and
Well,
getting these boys
absolutely.
some positive reinforcement going into next week, or actually, sorry, this week.
I was
Yeah.
impressed with the kids and the turnovers. I mean, they really held mistakes down. I thought that makes for wins.
not a lot of penalties.
No, very
Yeah.
clean game.
So see if we can carry
I think
this
this
momentum.
is the one. Is this the one where Micah takes it back? I believe he takes it all the way back for touchdown.
No, I think that was the play we showed. Well, maybe.
Yep, I think
yeah,
this
there
is
it
it.
is. That's
Yep,
right.
I was gonna say I think this is the
That's
one.
right.
This is
Just
the one
broke
big
free
full play
after-
I gotta see, but
After hitting the
yeah.
ball hitting the turf and him having
Yep,
to pick
he
it up.
bobbled it a little bit and took it all the way back. I don't remember how many yards that was, but
And there's the fireworks. I gotta give my friend Brian Durham credit for.
yes.
He's part of the coaching staff, but he got was the pyrotechnic that night. I
Yes,
guess.
he was.
Well, we'll take every game like that the rest of the season.
Got a big game coming up this Friday.
Franklin County
conference
will be-
game. and
Conference
Be
game.
a very good force. So they lost to Newcastle, which surprised me a little bit because Franklin County is doing well in football.
They year in and year out are pretty good, and it's won't be easy going on the road. But I'd rather go in 1-0 like we are than have gone in 0-1.
Yes,
and,
yes,
you know.
right.
And the other thing, once again this week in the AP poll, we got votes and we're ranked 17th in the state
That's great.
for 2 weeks in a row. So congratulations to our Spartans. Really
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything, but it's a little nice
Sure.
recognition from
Yeah.
around. People see that around the state and they read Connersville.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
They're used to seeing that when it comes to basketball. One thing Coach Lynch, and we'll move on, but one thing Coach Lynch said to me the other night that he wants Spartan football to emulate Spartan basketball and the way Coach Brown does things. And
The program and everything.
good, clean program,
Yes.
determined and very disciplined type of play. And
Definitely working on that culture now. That's kind of our biggest focus this year is really focusing on the culture of our athletes and making them aware of who they are and where they are at all times. And so,
Well, I think
That's
winning like that
fantastic.
is a goal for all coaches.
Right. Exactly.
Might take a look at the schedule for this week at CHS. Monday, boys soccer will be at Franklin County. The girls golf will be at Willowbrook at the Country Club. Girls soccer is home with Crystal House Academy. JV and varsity volleyball is at Anderson. On Tuesday, boys soccer with East Central. It will be tennis at Waldron. On Wednesday, the boys tennis will be at Richmond. Thursday, boys tennis is home with Cambridge City. Girls golf will be at Centerville. JV and varsity volleyball home with Franklin County. On Friday, of course, the Spartans play football at Franklin County. On Saturday, co-ed cross country at Rushville. Varsity and JV volleyball at Batesville. Boys are home for soccer with Union County. So a busy week this week for all the kids.
it is a very busy week. The only correction that I would make on that one is tonight's soccer match against Crystal Academy got postponed.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have enough players that had enough practices in to be able to play us tonight. So we're hoping to postpone that. I know Coach Cooley really wants to make sure we get those games in because it's hard to find soccer matches. So that's the only change on that one.
So that's something you had to keep track of is how many practices the kids have had? And
yeah, so for the IHSA, they have to have a minimum of 10 practices to be able to compete in their first game. So in this case, Crystal House must have started late or something, and they didn't have enough to compete. So
well, that's unfortunate because I know it would be a good opponent.
Sure.
Is that an Indianapolis school?
Yes.
Crystal House?
Yeah, they're up there by
Private school.
Butler. Yep. It's a newer school.
You mentioned Coach Cooley. You're fortunate to have a lot of homegrown people, coaches like him that with a lot of experience and coaches throughout all the programs. I think we're blessed here with.
Absolutely. He's in my office pretty much every day. You know, we have conversations every day. But he's on it. He wants the kids to compete. He wants to make sure they get to play in as many matches as they can. And then on the side, he helps us with football. He's in the press box running the clock for football.
Yes.
So, there's some good ones out there. He's one of them.
Another of your responsibilities is as far as JV and varsity teams, the youngsters are limited to the quarters they can play within a week.
Yes.
And so you have to be careful that they don't
Sometimes
violate
it's
that law.
by quarters. Sometimes it's by games or matches a week.
Okay.
It could also go by season. When you get to baseball, it's by how many pitches the pitchers are allowed to
you
throw.
have to
So
keep count of that.
there's a lot of things on the side, that
folks
a lot of people may not quite
they don't
know about.
realize that.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so that's all under your umbrella.
Yeah, I think we rely on the coaches a lot to make sure that they've got it covered, and if they ever have any questions, we kind of come in and
Well,
help
that's
out.
good.
But yeah.
Right.
Yep, we have to monitor that.
Well, I think you're enjoying the job so far.
I am. It's been a whirlwind. I kind of feel like this week is the first week I came into work and think, oh, I got this. Like, this is going to be great. Last week was a little nerve-wracking trying to get ready for the first home football game and didn't want to make a mistake and mess up. But I think I'm figuring it out. I really am.
Right. 2 away games will give you maybe a chance to catch your breath before we're home again.
Give me a chance to kind of scout the other schools and see what they do that we don't do that maybe I can bring
up some
bring
ideas.
back. Yeah,
Okay.
bring back some ideas, drum some ideas up.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to other athletic directors, like in the conference here?
Yep. So we've had two conference meetings. The first one was about football and how we were going to do the jamboree, because the jamboree is there to raise money for our conference, so we don't have to pay conference dues. So that was nice. So the jamboree made enough money that we got all of our trophies and certificates and everything for the conference paid for the year. So that was fantastic. We had one last week, and we just kind of did normal business and kind of found out about how much we made. But we meet about 3 times a year before each season starts.
Okay.
But yes, I've talked to Melissa Morrow out of Rushville.
Did you know her prior?
I've heard the name. I don't know that I knew her. Denny Doral out of Franklin County. He knows my family, on my husband's side. And then some of the other guys, the Batesville, Brian Hevley, and then Ryan Kigna out of Lawrenceburg has been really helpful with some things
Good,
too. So
good.
the conference ADs are fantastic.
It's a great conference.
Absolutely.
It's a tough schedule.
It is pretty tough,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Batesville came out at the Golf Invitational on Saturday, and I heard that they were one of the top ones in the state. And so they won the Golf Invitational, and they, I think they beat Noblesville by 4 shots. So, I mean,
That's a pretty big
that's
deal,
pretty
I think.
good, absolutely.
is.
So, but they have a beautiful golf course down there too in Batesville, so that kind of helps.
Yeah,
That helps.
it is pretty right there in
Yep,
town.
it is. Yes,
Yeah.
beautiful place.
We're fortunate to have Willowbrook
We are.
as our host for our
Yeah.
golf team.
And they're one of our sponsors too for athletics. They do a lot of work for
Yes,
us. Doug
yes.
Fischescher is who I work with on Saturday, and he did a phenomenal job helping with the 11 teams, especially since I had never in my life
Well, sure.
golfed, let alone a tournament. So he was fantastic, and his employees had everything ready for us, and made for a really easy, great day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You need all the help that you have right
Yes,
now, don't you?
yes, you do. Every conversation I've had has given me something to think about or to do. So,
Pick up tips here and there and
yep, have
makes
to.
your job better and easier maybe, hopefully in the
does.
long run.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are you expecting, Sam, out of this week's next couple of ball games?
Well, 2 tough ones coming up, both of them on the road.
Yeah, we
Franklin
talked about
County,
Franklin
and
County.
then Labor Day weekend down at Greensburg. And we've had success there, but it's tough, and it's always seems like very competitive, and you never quite know what's going to happen. But it's a reasonably short trip for us, as well as Franklin County. So, with all that enthusiasm we saw on Friday night, it'd sure be nice to have a lot of red at both
Well, I'm
places.
sure the fans will follow the team.
Well, I know
very
Mr.
well.
Shenison is actually trying to put out a fan bus for students. So he's going to try to take a fan bus and
good.
get, hopefully a group, hopefully our cheer block will take
Yeah.
up on that, but try to get a fan bus together to leave
be great. I
to
think-
go down to Franklin County on Friday to hope to bring that red and white down there.
The players appreciate that, don't they? Have
Absolutely.
Fan
Sure.
support like that.
Seeing their their
do.
classmates or teammates down there.
Yeah.
Well, we travel well in other sports, so
Sure.
we need to travel well in football.
Time
too.
to start, yeah.
It sure is. And I was impressed the other night at Spartan Field with the student cheer section. They were down to my right, and thought they were doing a great job, and had some numbers there. So,
Yeah, they were very respectful, and we told them what we expected, and we expected them to
good.
clean up when they were done, and they didn't leave a single piece of trash.
Good.
So that's what we're looking for.
Good.
Responsible kids. Yep.
Well, that's your job, is to make these young people become good citizens.
Yep. Yep.
So far, you're off to a good start.
I'm trying. We are trying.
We want to thank you very much for taking time out to join us here on the program, Andrea. And
Absolutely.
I know the folks out in TV3 land are happy to see you and get to know you, and I'm sure they'll say hi when they see you around.
Absolutely. I hope so.
Always nice to welcome someone back home.
Sure is.
It's good to be home.
And it's nice that people go away and do come back home. I think that shows a lot for the Connersville and the community, don't you?
Yep. I agree with that. It's never thought I would come home, but we moved back 2 years ago,
See,
and
here you are.
it was just kind of the right fit. Absolutely.
Yeah, you hear that a lot from people that leave and then come back. Sam, I know you want to thank Andrea for joining us.
Very much so, and looking forward to many more of these.
Absolutely.
We'll invite you to come and anytime and bring a player, bring another coach, or if you can't come, certainly would like to have that as well. But
Sure.
appreciate it. I know that you're a busy gal.
Sometimes.
Andrea, thanks so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, and we appreciate it a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Have a nice evening.